welcome to the Week 18, the good, the bad, and the money on Pub Sports Radio. And thank you all to who's made it possible, Jeff Slaughter, Prize Picks, and of course, the chat. On this show, we take you through 20 plus NFL props in less than 30 minutes. I'm going to take you through 12 great spots, starting with quarterbacks and finishing wide receivers. And then we head into the man who's been leading the way in the NFL prop market for the last few years, Billy fucking Brizz. And then we finish with the biggest show on YouTube's play of the day. So kick back, grab your notebooks, and let's beat some of these lines. This show, of course, is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you haven't, go on over to Prize Picks, use promo code Pub Sports. And on your first deposit, they will match deposit it up to 100, minimum of 25, simply by using the promo code Pub Sports. So do us a favor, do you a favor, and go use that promo code. Now, let's get into the real reason why all you guys really came here for, and that's to make some money. But before we get into these plays, Prize Picks is being as janky can be by barely putting up any props in half the games, and half the games not even being put up yet. So we're not here to bitch, we're here to make some money. So let's get into it while we got some Saturday and Sunday games in the last week of the regular season with playoffs on the line and bonus money to be made. So let's get to the money and start off talking about these Raiders and why I'm on Jarrett Stidham's fantasy score over 14 and a half. And I did grab me some Stidham over 225 and a half earlier in the week on Prize Picks because it was just off, and now it's at 240 and a half. But let's talk us the guy I said would look better in this Raider offense than Derek Carr would, and that's Mr. Stidham. And like I said last week, McDaniels brought him over from New England for a reason, and he trusts him to run his offense, and so do I. In his first start for the Raiders, he just threw for 365 yards and 3 touchdowns versus the number one defense in all of NFL. And now he gets a matchup versus the Chiefs, who are 9th versus the rush, 18th versus the pass, while being dead last in takeaways. Being a 9-point dog has the game script for our guy to drop back and let it fly, and it doesn't hurt that he will run when needed. Last week versus the 49ers, Stidham put up 25 and a half fantasy points, and we get a 14 and a half. By us only getting one start, the books don't know where to put him yet. So yeah, I will be on his fantasy points, and I'm already on his yards over. Man, is today the day to talk about quarterbacks who's only made one start. Well, here's another one I'm looking at, and that's Joshua Dobbs' fantasy score over 11 and a half. Now, I'm not saying Dobbs is a good quarterback, but he is better than Malik Willis, and you can tell that on the one game Dobbs did start in, and that was versus the Cowboys last week. And now he gets a matchup versus the Jaguars defense, who was 11th versus the rush, 28th versus the pass, and 23rd in total yards allowed, while also getting Derrick Henry back to help versus the play. To help with the play action. This number is just too low. In his first start, Dobbs threw for 232 yards and a touchdown with 1 interception and 39 pass attempts. Now, I do not expect him to throw it more than 30 times, but the fact that they even allowed him throw it 39 even tells me that they trust him more than Willis, because Willis never threw it more than 29 in a game. But like I said earlier, Henry will be back. The play action is going to work that much more. Dobbs puts up 13 fantasy points in a loss to the Cowboys and now gets a lot better matchup with a well-rested Titan team to back him. Just too low for a guy that needs to be played on right now. And now we talk the other side of this game. And I got him earlier on the week on Prize Picks at 240 and a half pass yards, but I still like Trevor Lawrence's pass yards over 250 and a half. And man, this may be the best matchup on the board. The Titans defense is 2nd versus the rush while being dead last versus the pass and 25th in total yards. And it being week 18, we got numbers and numbers to look at. And Trevor Lawrence has faced 2 teams that are top 5 versus the rush and bottom 10 versus the pass. He is 2-0 to the over while averaging 344 yards a game. Yeah, 344 yards a game. And they got this prop out at 250 and a half. Yeah, sign me up. Even if it has gone up, you can't make this high enough for me. Now, this is the last quarterback we're going to talk about, and I didn't even think I wanted to talk about him. Dak Prescott's pass yards over 255 and a half. And no, Washington's defense isn't bad. They are 14th versus the rush and 5th versus the pass. Dak has hit his over 7 of his last 8 games to this number, and 2 of those games were versus top 5 pass defenses like these Commanders, where Dak in those games is 2-0 to the over while averaging 306 pass yards a game in those spots. Now, it may be worth a shot to take him first half, because if the Eagles are blowing out the Giants like we all expect, we could see the Cowboys sitting in the second half to get some rest before the playoffs. So I think any Cowboys props realistically need to be looked at as halftime bets on Prize Picks, guys, because if the Eagles are up by 2 scores like they should be on the Giants, I do not expect Cowboys to be playing in the second half. Now we get to talk about my favorite position. But before we get into those running backs and we talk about the big beast King Henry first, smash the damn like button if you like what you're hearing. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe as well. If you love what you're hearing, go to my Twitter page, do me a favor, and hit that retweet for you, boy. But now let's get into that running back position that I enjoy talking about the most, and that's Derrick Henry's fantasy score over 18.5. This game has the division on the line, and we got a well-rested Titans team and a rested King Henry versus a Jaguars D that's 11th versus the rush and 28th versus the pass, 23rd in total yards allowed. With Dobbs now at quarterback, the checkdowns are coming more, and in a PPR format, this is the one reason I want his fantasy score. The other is this man is a damn touchdown machine, scoring a touchdown in 10 of 15 games, including 3 straight games, with one of these games being versus these Jaguars, where he had 17 carries for 121 yards and a touchdown, while adding in 3 catches for 34 yards, putting up a fantasy score of 20.4. That was including his 2 fumbles. They give you -2 points for 2 fumbles. So, yeah, this should be 22 plus. And the fact that this man fumbled twice the last time in this game and still hit this over is just the spot that I've got to get on. So, sign me up for a guy who's got his rest. And yeah, King Henry to the moon, baby. I made some good money betting this next man the last few weeks. And I already bet him earlier on the week at 68.5, and it has moved up to 72.5. And I expect it to about to go up about another 6 yards after the information that our guy Big Show gave us right before this show cracked off. And Matthew Stafford is going to play. He is active and ready to go. And that just makes me love this play even freaking more. So Cam Akers rush yards over 72.5. And I know the Rams have been out the playoff hunt for weeks, and the Seahawks are actually playing for something. Well, is it a coincidence that the old Lion has a chance to help the Lions get into the playoffs by beating the Seahawks? I don't think it is, guys. So Seahawks defense still sucks. 30th versus the rush and 17th versus the pass, while being 29th in total yards. And since Baker has taken over the last few weeks, granted, now we get a better quarterback than Baker, they, he Akers has become the focal point of this team, and I don't expect nothing to change with Stafford there. Over the last 2 weeks, Akers has seen 19 plus rush attempts a game while going over 118 yards in both games, and now gets a matchup versus a trash rush defense in a game I expect to be a dogfight. Yeah, sign me up for the man seeing 19 carries a game versus a bottom 5 rush defense. Please and thank you. I don't hate it if you want his fantasy score. It wasn't up yet on Prize Picks. He does have a catch in every game, and he has 4 touchdowns in his last 4 games. So he did see the end zone twice versus the Seahawks earlier this year, and that was with a wide receiver as their quarterback in that game. So I expect Akers to just eat, especially with Stafford back there. Now they can't load up 8 in the box. And if this team ain't able to load up, even when they're able to load up 8 in the box, they still give it up like my prom date did to all my buddies and not me. Now, this brings me into my favorite spot on today's card, and that's Miles Sanders' rush yards over 63.5. And man, oh man, does the Giants defense suck. 25th versus the rush, 15th versus the pass, while being 24th in total yards allowed. And now they have to deal with these pissed off Eagles. And over the last 10 weeks, when Hurts is quarterback, Sanders is 3-1 to the over rush yards when facing a bottom 10 rush defense, averaging 16.5 rush attempts and 105 yards a game on the ground. including one of those games versus these Giants where he had 17 carries for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. In the 3 games that he went over, he had 17 plus rush attempts, while only 11 in the game he came up short. The Eagles are a 14-point favorite and should be, which means whether it's in the beginning or in the end of the game, Sanders is going to smash this prop by 30 plus yards. Now, this last game of the day, Sunday Night Football, I've got to talk about a guy. But I've got to give you a heads up and be real. Fuck, do I have a freaking bad. Every time I go over, it goes under. If I go under, it goes over versus this Lions defense. Well, I'm going to go over, and I think I've got me something here, guys. So fade me, tail me, do what you like. I'm just giving you fair warning. Aaron Jones rush yards over 63.5. And like I said earlier in the show, Price Picks is not offering all the props yet, but I really want his rushing receiving yards over. Jones is one of the few who can get his total on the ground or in the air. And versus this Lions defense, who is 29th versus the rush and 30th versus the pass, while being dead last in total yards allowed, it sets up for another great spot for Jones, who looked as healthy as can be last week versus the Vikings. And that's key to me, guys. Jones being healthy is key. If he's not healthy, this guy's not playing. If he is healthy, he's one of the best dual threat backs in all of football. That's why I said I do want his rush and receiving. And like I said with this Lions defense, who is 29th versus the rush, 5 out of the last 6 games, they have held these guys to the under the running back position. So fair warning, they have stepped it up, but I seen me a healthy Jones, and I don't think they can deal with a healthy Jones, in my opinion. I know they split the uses of these running backs up in Green Bay with Dillons and Jones. Over the last 7 weeks, Jones is averaging 13.5 rush attempts a game, while Dillon is seeing 11.2 rush attempts a game. But Dillon has scored a touchdown in 5 straight games. Why I want Jones rushing receiving is simple. He has 2+ catches in every game this year, and he could break it at any given time. Dillon's fantasy score is the way I want to go there. Jones rushing receivings will be the other way I have on my Sunday night ticket. Now let's talk some wide receivers before we head into Billy Brizz's favorite early looks. And smash that damn like button if you like what you're hearing. And we got to talk about that Raider. Granted, we'll say one of those catches last week wasn't a catch, but he still had over 100 yards. But still, let's get into it. Davante Adams receiving yards over 75.5. And if you follow me on Twitter, I gave this out earlier in the week at 70.5, and I told you it was going to move. And I still love it at this. If you know, you know. Number 1 wide receivers have destroyed these Chiefs. And after last week with Stidham looking Adams' way 33% of the time, this is a slam dunk. Let's go back to the beginning of the year. Mike Williams of the Chargers versus these Chiefs. 8 catches for 113 and a touchdown. Mike Evans, 8 for 103, 2 touchdowns. Davante Adams, 3 for $124, 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 10 for 148 and a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk, 7 for 82. Christian Kirk, 9 for 105 with 2 touchdowns. Keenan Allen, 5 for 94. Jamar Chase, 7 for 97. Jerry Jeudy, 8 for 73 with 3 tutties. DK Metcalf, 7 for 81. It is what it is, and we know Stidham is going to look at Adams. 33%, even if it drops down to 25. I don't fucking care. The fact that we're seeing this much versus a team that is dead last in takeaways in a 9-point game script where they should be throwing, yeah, sign me up for this slam dunk. Yeah. There were so many people in this next game I wanted to talk about, but we got to save some room for some Sunday games. But I like Woods and Burks receiving yards over for the Titans, both seeing 8+ targets last week and in the mid-30s. But we got to get on a Jaguar here, and that Jaguar's Evan Ingram. His receiving yards are at 45.5, and I'm not taking in last week when the Jags played the Texans in a meaningless game that the Jags had wrapped up before the half. Ingram has become a giant focal point in this offense, leading the team in targets the prior 3 weeks to the Texans game. 33 targets to the next player, Christian Kirk, seeing 26. Well, in those games, Ingram is averaging 112 receiving yards a game, including the game versus these Titans, who are second versus the rush and 32nd versus the pass. There's only 32 freaking teams, guys. He had 11 catches for a $162 that day. Now, we're getting this number because of his averages all season. Well, like I said, the last month he's become Trevor Lawrence's favorite target. And in a game where rushing will be hard to come by, give me the guy seeing the most targets, please and thank you. They have his receptions at 4.5. Ingram is averaging a little over than 10 yards a catch. So there is a possibility of us just hitting these yards on 4 catches. That's why I went with his yards and not his catches. But got to get on Evan Ingram in some type of way. Fantasy score if you think he's going to score or not. But 32nd pass defense, Trevor Lawrence's favorite target. Yeah, too low of a number in my opinion. Now, this guy has a great matchup and a quarterback who just looks lost. And I'm wanting to get on some Amari Cooper receiving yards over 57.5. And I'm with getting in. And with getting in a limited practice yesterday, I do expect him to suit up and play. Cooper has a great matchup versus a Steelers defense that is 7th versus the rush and 20th versus the pass. And maybe without their best defensive back, Mika Fitzpatrick, who hasn't practiced all week. But with or without, they are still bad versus the pass, and Watson has been there for 5 games, and week by week, the connection with his number one has been getting better and better. 3-0 to the over this number the last 3 weeks, and has been the most targeted player by Watson in 4 of the 5 games Watson has started. So in a spot where they're going to have to pass, give me the man who should eat and eat often versus this pasty who may be without Miles Jack and Mika Fitzpatrick. One thing that I did learn a few years back, guys, that you should pay attention to is that Steelers and Ravens, they hurt for 3 weeks afterwards, guys. That is one of the biggest games of the year for them. These guys go balls out and then have to play a football game the next week. There are going to be guys not playing, guys playing hurt. And I expect Cooper to eat versus this weakened pass defense. And now we get back to the play of the week last week that cashed, of course, and the spot is right back in front of us again. And I'm talking about Allen Lazard's receiving yards over 49.5. And the Lions defense may be one of the worst defenses by the numbers. 29th versus the rush, 30th versus the pass, and 32nd in total yards. Like I said, there's only 32 teams. And the spot I'm talking about in bottom 10 pass defenses with Lazard, he is now 4-0 after last week, averaging 66 yards a game, with one of those games versus these Lions where he had 4 catches for 87 yards. The Lions over the last 5 weeks seem to have fixed their rush defense, but still can't stop my mom from throwing the ball. And Lazard hasn't seen less than 6 targets in any game versus a bottom 10 pass defense this year. And I don't expect anything to change, even if Watson is healthy and ready to go. Well, enough of me poisoning your brains with my thoughts. Smash the like button if you like what you're hearing, and let's bring on someone who year after year is very profitable in this NFL prop market, and that's my man, Billy Brizz. How you doing? How you holding up with no UFC the last few weeks?
We're doing good, man. We're loading up Team Duval this weekend, baby. All aboard the Lawrence bandwagon.
Man, got to see the Lawrence dance. The Lawrence dance. But it looks like you went balls deep on one team, and I don't hate it. And after you talk this game, we'll go into some of the NFL players looking at bonuses that shouldn't be looked at. But your game is the AFC South matchup with the division on the line, where the Jaguars are a 6.5-point home favorite, and the total is set at 40. Tell them how you looking to 3-way this bitch.
Yeah, man. We're looking at a lot of Jacksonville Jaguars tomorrow. First one is Evan Ingram over 45.5 receiving yards. A lot of the Jaguars are up for contract incentives this week. Leading the way with the most attainable one is Evan Ingram, who needs 61 receiving yards to earn a $200,000 incentive. Prior to this Doug game, he had 31 catches for 367 yards, 3 touchdowns in his 4 previous games. The Titans give up a lot of production to the tight end position, ranking 31st in fantasy points allowed to the tight end position. Last week, Dalton Schultz had 7 catches for 56 yards and 2 touchdowns. Week 14, Ingram had 11 catches for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. So all aboard the Ingram bandwagon this week.
I'm already there with you, and did not see that in the bonuses, bro. Evan Ingram is a motherfucking smash spot this week, guys. Smash spot. All right. What else are you on?
We're also going to the wide receiver position here in Jacksonville. Zay Jones over 52.5 receiving yards. Titans are allowing the most points per game to the wide receiver position this season. Jones had 8 catches off of 12 targets for 77 yards and touchdown in their week 14 matchup. He's also playing for contract incentives to $75,000 is on the line this weekend here for Zay Jones. He needs 2 catches and 98 yards short of hitting those incentives. Jones has had at least 5 catches in 7 games versus the Titans, who have given up 4,456 passing yards, worse in the NFL here. So all aboard the Zay Jones bandwagon.
Man, Zay Jones has been the third most targeted on this team over the last 5 weeks. And let's get into the one who's the second most targeted.
Yeah, we're looking at Christian Kirk. Same type of player scenario, but we looking for more moolah. There's $1 million on the line. You think this man ain't gonna show up for $1 million here? There's $1 million on the line here for my guy, Christian Kirk. He needs 2 catches and 98 yards to make $1 million this weekend. He might be the one that's playing for the most money here compared to Zay Jones. Kirk's lining up in the slot, and he gets a nice matchup too. Titans are allowing the 3rd most points per game to slot wide receivers here. So all 3 Jags are on the block here, and we got money on all 3. Team Duval, baby. Trevor Lawrence. All
I'm
aboard
on
the
Trevor
bandwagon.
Lawrence too, bro. So this just like adds up with the quarterback I've already fucking thrown money on it the earlier. When I saw 240 yards, I kind of laughed. I was like, huh, this is off. I got Jarek Stitt. Everything I bet earlier in the week on Prize Picks have moved a chunk. So that's always good to hear. Damn, bro, I'm smashing Ingram and I think I'm gonna have to bet both of those guys. One of them's hitting, if not both.
You see why we're doing the dancing and the TikToks and stuff?
Yeah, I see it, bro. I see you, bro. Your last spot, though, your last spot is a game I don't see, and I didn't even look at. And Billy the Balls or Billy the Kid, he don't care what you fucking call him, guys. He just wins at a crazy rate. And I'm talking the 49ers and Cardinals, where the 49ers are a 2-touchdown home favorite, and the total is set at 39.5. We've made a lot of money betting this guy this year, so tell him how you getting in on Mr. Ayuk.
Yeah, we like Ayuk over 53.5 receiving yards here. Ayuk needs 44 yards to reach his first 1,000-yard campaign in his career. He's coming off a 100-yard game, and he's topped 80 yards in 3 straight games, showing some connection with Purdy, who's looking pretty good, facing the Cardinals, who ranked 20th DVOA pass defense here. So good spot here for Brandon Ayuk. Could make some extra cha-ching in his pocket here with the 1,000-yard campaign season.
We've got a new name for you after this week. This Billy the Bonus right here, man. Bonus Hunter over here. Fuck the Bounty Hunter. We got Billy the Bonus Hunter. We got a shirt coming, bro.
Got
But
the hat on, baby.
was there any other spots you were looking at that bonuses were on the line for any other players, teams, whatnot? I know you sent me the link. I know you probably ran through it.
Couple of them is Chargers. DeAndre Carter needs 5 catches. I forget for how much money, and so does Gerald Everett.
I think Everett's got more of an opportunity there, but they
Hayden
may see some
Hurst
people.
Also is in line for an incentive, and Justin Jefferson needs 174 receiving yards for a 2K campaign.
It's doable, but the one I was looking at where there's 3 Ravens players chasing sack bonuses. So I think the Ravens sack prop is a look this week, just taking the sacks, not
JJ
picking
Watt,
one.
1 sack away from $1 million bonus, and he's about to retire after the season. So
Maybe there's this, and the Niners are that's a thing too, taking sack props on both of those games, just going over with it. I know Greg the Leg Zennerlin for the Jets needs 2 field goals, and with Joe Flacco starting, I expect him to be able to move the ball, but probably
you
not
never
punch
know.
it in. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his 2 field goals for his bonus, but it is hard to bet on a kicker hoping that the coach wants to be nice, and you ain't getting that shit, bro. So I'm more banking on Flacco's gonna be Flacco right there and just not score touchdowns. But you never know. He could
All
kick
I
me in
know
my
is my
balls.
money's on Team Duval this weekend, baby, because we got UFC next weekend. We'll get into that next week.
All right. Well, Billy, always a pleasure. I know you got the NBA Pub Hub next on Pub Sports Radio. Want to tell these people where they could find you and what you got planned this weekend up here on Pub Sports.
Yeah, it's a good week, man. Make sure you follow me over on Twitter at Getting Bills. UFC's back next week. We already got some good underdog money. Dana's giving out hints, and we're scooping them up. And we're trying to be on the right side this year, 2023.
Man, I've been pumped. I've been doing so much baseball work, bro. I know you're gonna laugh. Baseball, it's not even. Yeah, it's not. It's 84 days away, but who's counting? This motherfucker, bro. I'm putting in like 4 or 5 hours every other day right now, cause we adding in like 3 different spots to my book that I want to do. I'm not losing. I'm winning at
Baseball
70%
still
plus.
exists.
Yes, it does. And you're going to pay your rent with me next year on The Walking Dead. So quit fucking lying. Smash the damn like, guys. And we're going to hit a quick commercial and come back with the biggest show on YouTube's Play of the Day. Yeah, I'm playing the air guitar. Make fun of me all you freaking want, because I know you guys were too. Well, what up, my guy? How you holding up? I'm glad you came on, even though teeth pain hasn't let you sleep, my guy.
Yeah, what's up, Sharpie? Some good news coming in. I heard that Stafford cleared and is going to play, and he said he wanted to play. Kind of going to hold him to something he said a while ago. I'll do anything to see the Lions make the playoffs. I'll hold you to that, buddy. Go out there and whoop Seattle's ass for me.
Let's
Make it a
bet
game on
that,
Sunday
bro. Like,
night.
let's just bet that and start that hashtag. I'll do anything to make the Lions make the playoffs. That's the freaking hashtag. It might be too long, but we'll find the quote, replay the video, and Big Show's gonna make that shit happen. Well, let's get right into your play since your mouth is fucking killing you. And Chiefs and Raiders game where the Chiefs are a 14-point road favorite and the total is set at 52. Tell them what you're looking at.
What a weird game in week 5, huh, Sharpie? Can you run back that Devontae Adams line again for me?
3 for a $124 and 2 touchdowns.
So 3 catches, $124 and 2 touchdowns. Another weird line on the other side, the guy I'm going with, Kelsey, 7 catches, 7 out of 8 catches, 25 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Huh? What the? They're all off right there, bro.
First 11 weeks, 12 touchdowns. Kelsey hasn't got a touchdown in 5 weeks. The laws of, regression and aggression are coming here. I think this is just an easy spot. The only touchdown that Prize Picks is trying to give out here. And I think it's just a solid spot. I think it's a touchdown in a game that they're winning.
I don't hate it at all. The way you were talking about it earlier, and I looked up some things on it too. It's just like he hasn't scored in 5 weeks. I played Jamal Williams because he hadn't scored in 3 weeks, bro. It's laws of regression, bro, and he ended up scoring a touchdown.
Something right. The Vegas did something right guarding him for him to get 7 catches for only 25 yards. Whether they were doubling him and he was just getting open and just making tough catches, or they were just set up near the end zone, and that's really the only run they wanted to really give him.
Yeah, and I definitely am on this game in a lot, and this Niners team which the fucking Raiders played last week. The Niners played the Raiders. They're 0-16 ATS, the team that plays the 49ers the next week. The Niners brutalize people. They hurt people. They are the most physical team in all of football. So how do these Raiders show up after last week, after showing everything they had? Is it done? Do they quit, fucking lay over and roll? I think that's really possible, bro. And when the Chiefs roll, Kelsey rolls. That's how they go. And I think the Chiefs win this by 2 scores, like the line says so.
Yeah, very
My
good.
play, guys, you already know. I'm on the Eagles, Miles Sanders. I broke them down already, so I will clip it. I'll resend it out. We do got an NBA Pub Hub show that starts in a minute. So until next time, where can they find you, my guy?
You can find me on Big Show Picks on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter.
Well, Big Show, thank you for everything you do for me and for Pub Sports. Without you, this show isn't possible, and I cannot wait for the Walking Dead. Well, that's all, folks. Once again, thanks for all who made this possible. Jeff Slaughter, Prize Picks, Big Show in the chat. And of course, this show is sponsored by Prize Picks. So go over there, use promo code PubSports on your first deposit up to 100, minimum of 25, and they will match deposit it. Until next time, I'm Sharpie's Bets on Pub Sports Radio. This is the Good, the Bad, and the Money Week 18 edition. This show may be done, but we are 84 days away from the Walking Dead. So until then, stay safe and stay solid.
Throwback.
Rated, shout out to him. This is the show. Pitch Whisperer Day, guys. Let's get to the money.
Let's get to the
Money.
Let's get to the
Money. Let's get to the motherfucking money.
Fuck the bookies, FTV screaming fuck